So some other things you might consider is just gently asking yourself, are there places in your life where you feel stuck or that you keep repeating the same patterns? And maybe use metaphors like, ignoring traumas like leaving a monster in a closet. It doesn't go away just because you don't look at it. These things hide in plain sight when they are really actively being avoided. And you may not feel the effects now, but they often show up when you least expect it. Sometimes my clients will say things like, I don't understand why I get here and I just start crying, but I was fine all week. And what I tell them is your body is starting to create associations that when you're here, you've given yourself permission to feel, to go there, to, experience some of the things that you have to zip up and compartmentalize when you're not in therapy. And I want to tell you that that's a really normal occurrence too. And the more that you do that, the more your body starts to trust that you're handling it and you don't have to keep it all zipped up anymore. But you are now in charge of when things come out and are triggering or activating. And then you can go live your life in the more functional way that you always do. Come back to therapy, pull it out. And so that becomes more of a pattern. So for those who are avoidant of wanting to do the work, that's something you can expect to happen. And that's actually a lot of freedom because you're now empowered to take charge of when and where you deal with the activating events and the emotions that accompany that. If you're not ready to face your past, it's okay. Healing can't be rushed, but it helps to know what to expect so that you're not so surprised when old wounds show up later. Sometimes just having information or a gentle invitation is enough to plant a seed for your future growth. So maybe you're listening and you are thinking about some unhealed trauma that is affecting you now or might affect your future relationships, and you start to notice patterns in your own life. Maybe if they're a sexual abuse survivor and you're not ready for therapy, but you save some resources from some of our podcast episodes or other episodes and think of them and play them in like bites that feels right for your own timing. Maybe start some grounding exercises before you dig into your trauma on your own with potentially things like meditation or more calming exercise like yoga or things like that. Even those small acts of steps towards healing will help make the process easier for you when you do decide to really dig into your past. You really have to give yourself permission to go at your own pace. You want to learn about trauma, its effects, even if you're not ready to dive in, and that's okay. And tell yourself, I can come back to this when I'm ready. I'm allowed to take small steps. And for those of you who are right there, I'd like to invite you to check out a couple of my earlier episodes. Those ones are How We Work, parts 1 and 2. That'll give you some history on kind of just really the biology and neuroscience of trauma and how it might be affecting you while keeping it out at a little bit more of a distance and not so specifically deeply into your own personal work. So now I want to talk a little bit about something that comes up for people pretty regularly, which is the concept of how unfair it is that I have to go dig through all of this painful stuff when I'm not even responsible for having it how it happened to me. And it really isn't fair that you've been hurt and that you have to do the hard work of healing. You didn't choose what happened to you. And it really is deeply unjust that the burden of healing and recovery falls on your shoulders.